being recorded.
Okay, that's in the right spot. The first part of it, yeah, I'm not sure. We won't know until we're done.
Thank you, Steve. I don't know what we would do without you, actually.
No, thank you, Steve.
So I missed one of the comments. It was the plan currently recommends creating an open space working group and then we added recommendations for additional groups. So they're on 63 and on 77,
Mhm.
which I think is a really good add. So I missed that one. Recommendation to add a development FAQ to the township website to share infrastructure and development information. So that's getting kicked off somewhere somehow, or that's
So we added recommendation to the plan, so then it will be one of the items that,
yeah, what's that? Got to be back further.
it would be under communications.
Let's go here. His one's completely cracked out too.
There it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's on page 77. I'll add the page number there. Okay, so this was just a comment. It's not a change from the other one.
Are you on? Yeah.
The workforce
Fourth
thing,
one, yep.
that's just more commentary. Same with the next one, because we had some further things about assumption-based things and
The committee didn't want to change anything in the plan. We were
Right.
just responding to that.
Right. Yep.
Question.
got it. Emails was sent to the township list. Thank you for that. Was great.
good.
Okay, existing overlays that border existing require buffer zones between residential developments and agricultural areas. Existing overlays that border existing residential development and where development will occur account for buffering. So that was just a comment. Is everybody following? We keep following? Okay.
Yep.
Added recommendations for a township-wide lighting standard. That's done. Strengthening tree protection on page 56 and 75. 75 and 56. So we had the bolster the tree protection standards where we have a replacement strategy or requirement.
Right. We now talk about tree stands 1 acre or larger.
Yeah.
And added some more additional language about how to properly preserve those trees.
Okay. Yep. Okay, here we
Did
go.
you state anything about non-native trees?
We do. We talk about making sure that any trees that are planted are
Yeah.
native.
Native. right?
Yep.
Okay.
Got a question about that. I'm not sure when you would want to take a question from the audience. But
If it's germane to that, we can take them as we go through.
So, representing the zoning board, we started looking at that recommendation and started looking at how that related to the net developable acres. At one time, in one of our overlay districts, we've got tree stands as part of that net calculation. We're rethinking that, because we don't want developers to see those, large tree stands as a liability,
Mhm.
cut them all down and then submit the plan that shows no tree stands. So, we get that we can put in the zoning resolution that if you do cut down trees after, you've changed your zoning to this overlay district and there's a large tree stand and you go cut it down, that you have to replace it with 2 to 1 or, whatever. We get that we can put that in. Our concern is prior to getting the plan to us, those trees get leveled. Did you all?
We've discussed it. Oh, yeah.
How did that, what were some strategies that you discussed?
The steering committee discussed it, and I think what we came up with, there's not a great way to protect it.
Well, yeah, but that was why we recommended taking tree stands out of the
Net
calculation for net developable, because if you kept it in there, the likelihood of them tearing it down was higher than if you took it out. So that's why we removed.
We didn't want to incentivize
Right.
removing tree stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incentive is already there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
There was-
Further
It'd be double.
incentivize.
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
So we,
Yeah.
we just wanted to know if you guys heard or talked about that at all. We've got some ideas on zoning of how we might maybe incentivize prior to, but we're gonna have to start getting the word out, but that, you know, we come up with some sort of a density credit or something that'll, you know, if you agree to keep these stands, then, you know, we'll give you a density credit and let you add to or something like that, so that you can.
I love to hear that because we had an extensive conversation about how to protect tree stands and there's just not a great way to do it, right? So if there's ways that zoning can come up with that, that would be wonderful.
So I think we'll start working.
Thank you.
Great.
And thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Comment, concern, because we all have it. Okay. I'm trying to, and then on 75, we had bolster tree protection requirements. So that it's on there too, as, and the zoning commission and township trustees are the responsible parties for bolstering the tree protection
We're
requirements.
already working on it.
Thank you, Louis. All righty.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, that's where you start, right? Okay. What's up? Next.
Next is, yep, maintaining enhanced rural road standard.
Yeah.
We didn't change that.
We did not. And then the future road, yes, okay, no changes made, conservation requirements can be, yep, okay. On we go. Then we added recommendations for a preservation commission or informal task force to be established. And an informal task force to be established to identify historic structures and host workshops. So that was on page 57 and page 79.
I think 69 and 79.
What am I why are my eyes not working? Okay, so I have a problem with this left eye and it's my near,
No worry.
it's my near in eye.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. 69 is 79.
Question, like, is that an appropriate place to put cemetery?
It is. Yeah.
We could put historic structures, cemeteries, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Yep.
nails that area.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
That cemetery.
Yes. Yeah. Great ad. Thank you, trustee trainer. On page 69 and 79. Okay. I'm gonna hold for just a second to
Yeah,
catch
you're
my
fine.
place.
How do you plan to protect and preserve the historic sites?
Go ahead.
We talked last meeting that we weren't necessarily recommending that the township come up with a protection language, but more identify properties that would be worth protecting and work with those landowners for them to understand what programs are available for them to protect their property at their will. It wouldn't be something the township is requiring.
Just wondered, because, you know, our house is on the National Register
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of about 10 in the county. So I know the landscape around it is important, as well as the structures, and our barn is the oldest one in Delaware County. So
We did have it on page 79 of our recommendations, if this might help. The recommendation is to protect the historic structures, but then the action item is to create a preservation commission or a task force to identify historic structures for potential preservation, and then to hold workshops for homeowners on the benefits, challenges, and process of historical designation. Yours already has a historical designation, so you might be one of the people who might want to help
Right.
get those. I think Steve Eisenbrown had some ideas about that as well.
years ago, Big Tish, we
Mhm.
identified historic structures in the township, and that's all recorded.
We should
Well, good.
probably find that
Yeah.
then, yeah.
Yep.
Is your property part of a conservation easement?
No, but I'm thinking about it.
Great.
And is it possibly the Licking? I think there's an easement. It's a Licking County easement for which we're eligible to join.
Licking or Delaware?
Licking.
There's a
Okay.
land trust in.
Land
Licking
trust, yes, in land
County
trust.
that will take land that's not in Licking County. and
Yes.
Hold it in easement.
So that might be an option for you.
Is that Granville? Is part of
It's-
that?
Granville's part of it, but it's a land trust. It's its own nonprofit organization.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, maybe you guys should hang out a little bit and have some coffee.
Well, it's something I recently saw, and I
Yeah.
think without coming up with our own land trust, there are ones available that we should think about, not only purchasing Harlan County property to preserve that land that owners want to sell, but owners that have historic barns, you do, we do on our property. We should be looking maybe to joining into land trusts.
Who do you contact?
I don't know, but I'll look into it and then,
That'd be great.
Do you guys
Yeah.
have each other's numbers and everything?
no, but
Well, after the
get-
meeting, why don't you connect? That'd be great. Thanks, Alice. Thank you, Diane. Okay, so next one down is discussion was added on page 55 regarding clustering of open space and connectivity of natural spaces. I thought that was a really great ad. That was real good. Did anybody else have any comment about that? Chris, gonna give you some time to chime in if you want to.
Chris stepped away.
Chris stepped away, of course.
He sent
Can you
Thank
say
you.
that again? I'm sorry, Maureen, I didn't.
We're on page, we're right here, we're, I don't know where we are. Keep going. I don't know.
Is she on the letter?
Yeah, no, she's on the one,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so it is, no, this is page 8.
8.
Unfortunately, I don't. Page 45.
Okay.
She's on the plan or on the?
No, she's on this.
I've got both up, but,
Here.
Here it is, right there.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
uh-huh. Okay, next. I hope Chris comes back. I think we might be doing a lot of it. Okay. So we're down pretty far here. The next one would be the strategic, keep scrolling.
You're past the map.
Yeah, go past the map. Keep going. One more page, 2 more pages. The next one there is the document also sets. This is just a comment. It's not legally binding. The document sets the township's policy moving forward as an explanation. So then the next one was put extra effort to protect cemeteries and historical points of the township. So we added recommendations for a preservation commission, and that's just the one that we already did. It's another one.
Yeah, there's a repeat comment.
It's a repeat comment, so it's important.
Mhm.
So don't rush the finish of the document as we were now getting feedback from the residents. The residents are just now wrapping their minds around what this document is laying out. Yeah, we've continued to collect a lot of it. We've had 4 drafts. We were supposed to be done in the middle of the summer or the end of the summer, early fall. And here we are almost to a year, almost to a year. So I hopefully people have had time, and I think I think sending things out the way you guys have sent them recently has been really helpful. Okay. I think that's everything.
Well, folks I've talked to have had no objection to anything, and they've been very pleased. They said, you guys are working awful hard. I said, we have been working awful hard to get this done,
Mhm.
but no complaints on anything.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
that's a positive.
It is a positive.
I have one input.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who is aging, the font is very small.
Or
So
can't
I don't
find-
know what point the general
Oh, okay.
document.
When you preface it as somebody who is aging, I'm like, you want to talk about
I-
senior
that's what I-
center living,
That's what
senior
it's like,
living?
No,
It's pretty small.
Okay. That's gonna take a total redesign of the plan, because it will bump everything.
Everything.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Get your magnifying glass out.
but it'll
No.
be available at the site as a
and then you
PDF,
can
so,
zoom in.
so that, okay.
Yeah, I had the same, some of the spacings and formatting
Mhm.
stuff was difficult for me to follow. And that's
Mhm.
what I wanted to talk to you a little about, not toward the end, it's the
Yeah.
beginning, early stuff.
Because the typeface of the comprehensive plan 2021, that is a larger.
Okay, we'll
Font
take
and
note
that's-
for future, but I think it would it'd be
Yeah,
a pretty big
I can
effort to
understand.
change this.
Those layout changes.
Mhm.
Chris is back? Okay, thank you, Steve. Hey, Chris, we wrapped through all the comments that we had from the last time and the summaries. Do you have any general statements that you want to make?
No, I think we've done a great job. I was able to follow while I was on mute or whatever, but no, I think the group's done a great job of considering the community feedback and doing our research and that kind of stuff. And appreciate Holly and the team pulling it all together.
Appreciate all of you.
So I guess then, it looks like we want to take a little bit of some time from the floor, since you guys all came out, and thank you for coming out on this beautiful snowy evening. I didn't see whose hand was up first, so we're going to go alphabetical. Is Louis, Doug? Doug, you go first.
Hard, 'cause I feel like I'm kind of on a different planet,
Okay.
including everybody that I've talked to about this. I've written you guys, a little booklet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the core set of changes, I'll put them here as questions, have to do with, there's a lot of great stuff in the plan, but it's about, number one, the nature and size of the village center zone. And to me and others I've talked to, it's like we didn't want to become Westerville.
So what is the size that you're reacting to, and where is it in the plan?
It's in the maps.
In the maps? So the land,
Zone has
Doug,
density residential.
can we have an interaction? So the land use map that's in the plan, is that what you're talking about? Okay,
I think that's page 50 in the last draft.
okay, we'll find it. So we're on the same page to start, okay?
And then there's another map that
It is.
zooms in on the village center.
Okay, so can I get to the map that you're responding to so that I can be with you? So it's page 50 and it's this land use map here. And Holly, are we able to pull that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So what you're seeing is where it says C. No, that's additional park. Center Village, the pink there.
In the middle.
Okay.
I think everybody I talk to agrees it'd be nice to have some commercial there, some restaurants, things like that. But taking it out to where this has got apartment potential, you've got, different types of new home ownership, you've got a huge chunk of the overall area. I don't see why that's necessary. Right? And that everybody that I've talked to is kind of the same way. Like the current size of that village center zone that as it's today seems sufficient if you just plan for expanding park, plan for some restaurant areas. So that's like the number one. The number two is the plan for the whole southern half of the township.
Can we answer them one at a time?
Sure.
Can we talk about it one at a time? So when we did the land use map, that's for something that's way out into the future. So as we think about it, when we think about the next, say, 20 years, if there needs to be a school, there are a lot of people in the community have asked for some senior residential type of places. A school like Highland Souders is 40 acres. That's what it would take. So when you start looking at that, and on this, when we did the land use, there's a school there. And then there's also, that's in D, which takes off that whole one corner, which is probably about 40 acres
Right.
there. And then B above there is some sort of a senior housing and townhomes, because a lot of the older residents have actually wanted to stay in the township and ask for those kinds of things. And then the rest of it, C, there would be an additional park. Our current park is only 8 acres. It's very small. So an additional park you might want a larger, maybe a 25-acre park. That's probably about, yeah. So then I'm trying to understand
And
the,
the other part of that too is if you notice the edges of these are all fuzzy.
yeah, they are.
Because that's not meant to clearly define an area. It's saying this is the area, and later on, as the trustees make decisions, it's, does it fit within that area? It doesn't have to be that size, but does it fit within this general area that we're identifying?
So this is not really, we use the word bubble, which is not a really great thing. But when we went on field trips, and I'm kind of explaining to you how the process worked for us. So we went on our field trips. One of the things that we learned is if you don't have a land use map and you're bringing in water and sewer, you can end up with kind of a mess of things not running to where it should be running to and things like that. And that's one of the cautions we got from Jerome Township, is to have a land use map to start with and allow that to guide where water and sewer and utilities and stuff go. So you don't end up with being forced into having your land use by where somebody decided maybe it's a good idea to put sewer at one point. So this helps with that. Are you in alignment with, there should be if there's higher density town type thing, it should be in the center of the township like that?
Yeah, I think, for me and people I've talked to and interacted with online, maybe it goes to a little bit of the vision. I don't know that we need to head toward like an eventual incorporated village, right? That sort of density, and some of this plan feels that way, like that's taken as an assumption. Whereas I think a lot of people that moved here or are living here are like, no, it's good to be, you know, a less dense, predominantly residential, farm friendly, doesn't need to be targeting that sort of eventual downtown. You got language like that in the plan, or, you know, a move toward eventual incorporated village with that kind of density.
Mm-hmm.
So does it need to be that big? I hear you that it's not a legally binding thing, but there's language all through the document that says this is going to be the roadmap. And the trustees say that too in the document. So that's my concern, and I put this.
So if you were going to put a school, if you were going to build a school, where would you put the school?
Near the existing school, rather than on the other end, I think was the proposal of.
Well, that doesn't,
School system is defined, right?
right? So normally you don't put schools, like you would want an elementary school probably is what you would do, because Big Walnut has so it would be more of an elementary type school, I would assume, just simply because they usually want elementary students. So you wouldn't put an elementary right next to the other elementary. You would have it
Schools were that way.
2 elementary schools right next to each other. Well, yeah, but this wouldn't be a junior high school probably. The junior high school's in
They
Sunbury.
probably would not have two elementaries that close.
That's my
to each
point.
other.
You don't usually have elementary, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's not even that there's no school planned.
Right.
There's no
This is just
school
a
planned.
concept.
It's more conceptual. If a school is needed, where would it go? I don't think you'd put it next to a business park. So I'm trying to understand. I guess,
Doug, I want to ask, is it part of you started off talking about how big that it is on the plan, and it is on the plan is big for the downtown area. Are you thinking about maybe vehicle traffic into the township and how that will affect the residents as people come into the township to the center to go to restaurants, or their homes are there in 3-story apartments? That type of thing, or are you against all commercial in the township? You are trying to think of a way so that the downtown is not such a focus as to disrupt the lives of the outlying people in the township, who the people, outside the township might be coming in to get to those places.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to commercial. I think it should be rationalized by what's needed for tax revenue though. And so another point would be, why is the eastern zone so huge for commercial, right? I mean, But anyway, sticking with the village center, yeah, that's my sense is more traffic, more dense residential, why? I think everybody would agree, you know, it'd be nice to have some restaurant areas and a bigger park. But this thing goes so much further than that. It's like, we need a walkable community with apartments and things like that. Why? I don't think that most people I talk to feel it, the need. And so my request would be to shrink the size of that and to not have the residential aspect in that zone. It's a commercial town center thing, not a place for high density, multi types of housing, multi-generational. But so that's one.
Okay.
The other is why is that commercial zone so huge? It's a giant portion of the overall township, that blue on the county line. Is that really necessary for tax revenue? Seems to me sufficient to protect from annexation. Be great.
So this is where I want to back up. So this isn't saying that this whole area is going to be developed to industry. It's saying as industry develops, this is an area that it could go. So so it's a nuance maybe, but we're not, this map is not saying this is what is going to happen in these areas. This map is saying if we want to add these things, this is where it might make sense to add these things, as opposed to it being unplanned and anywhere in the township. Does that make sense? So so this is different than a zoning map. Go ahead, Steve, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
well, hey, real quick, Maureen, the only thing I would say, and maybe
Okay,
it's in the titling, is
Chris, please, could you start over? I'm sorry.
no, I was just, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say is maybe so the title is Harlem Township Future Land Use Map.
Yes.
You know, and I hear the feedback,
Mhm.
and obviously we have spent, and I'm not saying that nobody's respecting it. We spent a lot of time as it relates to being very sensitive to maintaining the rural aspects of and the benefits of Harlem Township. I mean, this is so conceptual. This is not a roadmap to success as it relates to in 2031, we're going to have A, B, C, D, and E built out, and all of blue is going to be industrialized. I think what the concept of this future land use map is, here's what seems to resonate with what we're hearing from the feedbacks of our conversations with area townships and developers and all that fun stuff, understanding the overlays and understanding utility impacts and understanding all of the impacts. Here's how the puzzle piece comes together, and here's what seems to resonate. But in no way is this gospel as it relates to where things are going to go and what's going to develop. And so, I mean, I realize that we've got, we're trying to finalize, or we're trying to get to a finalization of the plan. I would just recommend maybe that this be conceptual future land use map, so that the perception isn't that this is the Bible for Harlem Township's future.
It's not even a plan. The map isn't even a plan. It's a concept. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was trying to get to.
yeah. So Doug, are there words that would help make that come through, as opposed to this is a zoning map of what's going to happen? We're saying if things do happen, this is where we propose that they go on the puzzle. And
I think people like me would say the big concern we have with this document is how can it help protect against full-on high density development, commercial or residential. And so when I see a big blue area and it's dedicated for potential.
But but that's the verbiage you chose, dedicated, it's not. If there's no dedication, it is already zoned in overlays that you can have that, but and that's already in place. And so what we're saying is there's also already road work that's going on there because Licking County is right there. And I don't know, Licking County is going to be there and they're going to develop the way they develop. So that's kind of a buffer actually to protect our township a little bit. So you can have some develops. Steve, you had some comments maybe that you,
Well, I was just, yeah, it follows the overlay district.
it does.
And when we put the overlay district structures in place, County Line was seen as a couple things. One, the most likely place because of proximity to New Albany and Johnstown. That road is it's not gonna be a freeway, but it's damn near gonna be a freeway. And if you saw what was just announced this week about 62,
Yes.
right? That's only gonna push more traffic to County Line as well because it'll become a cut through. So we viewed the old strategic planning committee. Over the course of a year and a half, we worked on this, felt that was the most likely area for opportunity for commercial development. But it wasn't not a situation where we were trying to push commercial development, period. But the other thing is there are large parcels of land along County Line that could be aggregated to make it financially viable for someone to go in there and build some commercial infrastructure. And probably the most likely place in all of Harlem Township. And again, this will all be gated by sewer, and that's a long ways from sewer. And right now, the sewer plan doesn't get there anyhow. But it
Not the
will
current one.
eventually, I suspect, and it could come from another direction. It's basically saying if someone has an interest in Harlem Township and aggregates some land, that's what the overlay puts in place to allow them, if they meet the terms of an overlay, to pull down the zoning to allow them to do that kind of development. And that was the area that was also identified in the comprehensive plan before the quick strategy guide.
The 2021 plan.
There's been discussion about that zone going back to, started in 19 probably, whenever Mike started the comprehensive plan, next round of the comprehensive plan. So, but it does not incentivize anyone to come in and build commercial. But it provides a controlled manner, as a buffer against annexation, and it provides a controlled planning environment for people, if they do aggregate enough land to want to build that, it can be done in a manner in which Harlem Township is comfortable with that type of development. So that's how we got to that.
And I remember,
You were there.
yeah, I remember the discussion of Licking County is targeting this area for this. And if we want buffers within the township, we should allow this area, or put aside's the wrong word. We should target this area to say, if somebody wants to do commercial development, it makes sense to do it next to where there's already gonna be commercial
On
development.
the other side of that street is gonna be all.
It's already zoning is changing now. Yeah.
And so by doing this, by saying, okay, if you wanna do commercial development in this township, here is the place we would like it to go.
Yeah, even to the point that the overlay provided for, if sewers are not available immediately, that we would tolerate on-site storage until sewers became available, so that someone could do some commercial development, knowing that down the road that they would be able to get a hookup. So I'll stop.
So one of the things, and I attended a lot of your team's meetings, and then I joined this team, and one thing that I have come to grips with, because I live in the southeast corner of the township.
The truly changing area.
Yes, yeah. Southwest,
Yes.
sorry. Yeah, and the thing I finally came to grips with is if we don't plan for these things, then they will occur through litigation. And then we'll have no say.
That's right.
And am I happy that the land across from my house is is business and with the plan for businesses with not apartments, housing above and gonna be a commercial area? No, but I can accept that because and more is not the right word. I'm also concerned with the rest of the township. And if we don't put it someplace and put these things in place, then I might end up with a warehouse right across from my house with, truck traffic 24 hours a day going down in front of my house. So I guess I'm just trying to relate my understanding as how I saw things before I volunteered and the additional input I got afterwards. And I was in the meetings where I thought at the church where I thought there was gonna be blood on the floor, But seeing and hearing these things over the 2-year period that there's been some different type of strategic plan committee, I am convinced if we don't do things like this, we're gonna end up in far worse shape. And my kids will have no interest in taking over my house when I die.
Doug, one thing to kind of think about is our current population is around 5,000. If you take the zoning with the overlay districts that are in place right now and say, build it out to full capacity. It may take 20 years, may take 25 years, may take 50 years. Build out the current zoning that we have with the overlay districts. We're 50,000. I don't know if you do that or not. We're 50,000 in population. So let's say that's way too aggressive. Let's take half that. We're still a 25,000 population. We're no longer a township at that point. We're not gonna stay a town. If that zoning, once sewer gets here, it's a matter of time before we turn into something that's not a township. So you made a comment about the center portion of the township, becoming a village or becoming something, and that was undesirable. The population is gonna happen. The zoning, if we don't change any zoning at all, ever again, the current zoning that we have today in place allows us to get to 25 to 50,000 in population. And we can't, there's no way, can't stop it. If a developer comes in and sewer's there, they can do it.
Well, the only way to stop it is sewer.
The only way to stop it
Is sewer. And I always keep coming back to that. Okay, sewer is a foregone conclusion, so we can't stop it. So.
Just to set
Yes.
expectations, we're not gonna stay rural forever.
Right.
And my last comment on
Okay.
this was, one of the things I saw when your team was in the committee was the pictures from out in, was it Arizona?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the surrounding area of Intel.
I'm into, right, where,
Intel.
here was the picture, and then Intel came in, and then here was the picture 10 years later. Right, and it was all this uncontrolled growth, and you heard from people like, you heard reports of, the closest grocery store to this massive sprawl now is a good half hour, 45 minutes away. Because there had been no plan of how they were gonna do that.
And then you went to the area near Carmel.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, right? West Elm, something Elm, whatever it is.
Yeah.
West Clay. Very planned community,
Very-
which feels very different, right?
Yes, it was amazing, because I walked in there and as you drive in, there's single family homes, and then when you got closer to the center, there were apartments, but they looked very much like the single family homes from the outside. And because of all the zoning they had done, it said, if you're gonna build this, here's the type of this is going on. And that, this is a small community, their downtown was very much of, hey, here are the businesses. And I mean, we had lunch at a little restaurant there, and above the restaurant, there were 2 floors of housing. And when I saw that and got to experience it, I grew less concerned about that zoning across the street from me.
Because you can see it's done well.
Yeah.
And I'm Doug, I appreciate that. Can we take your next question after we take, I forgot your name, sir. Bruce, now I remember. Your drawing was beautiful of your plan. Thank you for that. So you had a comment or a question? Okay.
My hope is, first of all, planning is critical. You gotta have, it. If not, developers have all kind of fun.
And there's no cohesiveness in your township anymore. It's not cohesive. There's no
Well, yeah,
cohesive. Yeah,
planning.
it is.
I have a master's in, a minor in urban planning and design, so I've been on development commission and zoning commissions for the city of Columbus for years. So it's critical. My hope is there can still be, and I understand the need to push forward and ratify and codify it, blah, 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 but you cannot separate a land use concept from a zoning. But you cannot.
I hope you didn't think I was trying to.
Well, I'm just
Okay. Okay.
global.
Maureen,
Because you set a tempo and a pace for what a developer believes they can do.
Okay.
And they will, in fact, develop to the highest
Of course they will.
density possible. So, because it's all about profit. Okay.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
You know, it's, you know, there's some nice things you can do with it, and I get all of that. But I also understand the notion of allowing a developer to develop to the highest land use available, which always trickles down to profit. Got it. So we need to think in context about specific zones and regions within a land use concept and how it ties to overlays. Because a plan is a snapshot at a specific time that attempts to project forward. Okay. But there are subregions within overlays because of the existing contexts and environments adjacent to those that need to be respected. Because if you allow me to take 10 3-pointers in a game, I'm taking them. Because point guards like to shoot. Developers, the great developers have the same mentality. But at the same time, if you live in the court, okay, you have front row seats. You have some investment in that arena also. So how is there time to still look at specific regions, particularly in the residential zone, so that we can be sensitive to not only the history of what's there and 10 or 15 years down the road, because things change every 3 to 5 years. And I know developers very well. And many of them can write checks tomorrow and get infrastructure in. You know, I've seen them do it. And that's wonderful. This is a guideline and a recommendation conceptually of what the committee sees as good practice. Okay. But I'm hoping that there's still an amount of time where we can look at subcategories and overlays.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Because that's right when you look at the land use plan, and it makes total 1000% sense and logic to me.
It does, and then it
It does.
follows the overlays as well. The overlays are,
But there's areas in the overlay
okay.
that need to be looked at.
And this plan recommends that.
That, yes, and there is a recommendation. I don't know if you had a chance to look there that to review the overlays to make sure that they still make sense. Yeah. And I think,
And two.
hey, Bruce,
Historic property.
Bruce,
Yes, ma'am.
just a second. Chris, our committee member, has his hand up and we'd like to,
Chris.
Chris, go ahead, please.
You know, now I got to figure out how to undo my hand, but lower hand. There you go. So, no, I think it's a great point, and I guess 2 points, and the reason I'm glad we went to overlays because that was exactly what I wanted to share was that during this process, based on feedback, based on discussions that we've had, you know, there's intentionality to a bit of conservatism in the overlays. Overlays can always be revised, right? I mean, it's not like it's something you want to be spending a ton of your time annually or every 6 months
Okay,
modifying.
time out, Chris.
That's a very bold statement.
Yeah, you had a reaction in the room. Steve Eisenbrown had a reaction. He said to be careful. So we didn't hear some of what you said. So could you back up just a little bit? You said overlays can always be revised,
Well, I'm saying they can be reviewed, right?
reviewed. Okay.
Okay. I just saying that the steering committee was intentional and made recommendations as it related to be conservative as we're developing the overlays with the idea for people who wanted to stretch the intentions of the overlays to work with the zoning commission and lobby for variances. In the intent of staying within our guiding principles of, you know, maintaining a, forget the terms that we've used, but a country-esque type vision for the township. So, you know, I like that the conversation is concentrating on having intentionality in the overlays because that's where we're going to be able to control some of that activity. That's all.
That's correct. I agree. And there is a past, present, and future reality. And in the development world, 5 years from now started 5 years ago in terms of their approach to land development. So variances are very tricky things and they're not guaranteed. So Chris, I like what you're saying, and no one wants to prolong stuff. I get that. But there are subzones within overlays that we need to.
So Bruce, are you
Yes.
asking, when you say postpone, are you asking something to be postponed?
Well, I'm new to this, so I.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
So, okay.
I'm tired now. So
You're tired now. So as we all are, we've been at this for a year. So,
don't want to slow that process because a lot of great progress has been made at the same time now that I am tied into it. Now.
Yeah.
There's just a couple areas that I think we need to take another look at, and hopefully, it fits within it, but it gives a little bit more definition that might be helpful to achieve what Chris is talking about.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with the last set of changes that you guys
Right.
asked for, was to give these broad ranges so that
Right.
at a future date, those sub areas or those pockets could be looked at, but not
yeah.
part of this.
Right. So, yeah, so the land use map,
It's a land use map.
and it doesn't have anything about densities except for it does have a little bit because it has the clustered conservation residential and some of those kinds of things. There isn't any actually densities on the land use map at all. That's all in the zoning overlays,
right.
which kind of, and so this actually, so if we want to have those further conversations, we don't want to postpone adoption of this or recommendation to this trustees of this plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because there shouldn't be anything alarming in this plan at this point. There shouldn't be. And if there is,
Too bad.
I'm not saying too bad. Go ahead, John.
So I think strategic wise, the intention here was to identify strategic priorities.
Mhm.
Right.
From a broad perspective that would inform trustees in the future as they're making decisions. But a natural next step is to do exactly what you're proposing, I think, Bruce, and that is either a master plan of the township as a whole or a master plan of the township as a whole that includes these quadrants.
Correct.
And an in-depth look at these in a changing environment, a changing developmental environment, et cetera, over the next 3 to 5 years.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Case closed. I
Thank
just
you.
need to make sure that that
It's-
can happen.
As this is a living document, I could see where this strategic committee ends and the next one begins, because it should always be a work in progress. I would love to see Doug and Bruce
Mhm.
on the next committee
Well, I thought
putting
you
their
guys were
input
lifetime
in.
committee.
No, but it's a living document, so it should keep changing and evolving.
It has to keep changing.
And you gentlemen sitting out here and who's online should be part of those changes to come.
And once this document is adopted, what I would say is we need people to work on the recommendations, right? Because we shouldn't just put them in a drawer.
That will begin a
Yeah.
week from
Yeah.
tomorrow
A-
or yesterday.
And like I've signed up to be an alternate on the zoning commission and I was accepted. I didn't make any meetings because I was sick in December, but because it is important to me to make sure that we don't lose sight of those changes that need to happen and I want to participate in a continuous way. So, did anybody else want to speak? Go ahead, Tom.
2 minutes.
You can have 2 or you can have 10. No, just kidding. You can have 2. Okay.
I think recollection is that when we talked about having 2 schools in the township
Mm-hmm.
that basically served as anchors
That's why.
for the downtown,
Mhm.
the center village. district.
Yes,
One would be Highland Salvers, an elementary school. And the other, my recollection.
That's right.
is a middle school.
that's right. We did
And
talk about
that
that.
You'd be able to raise your family here and have them go to school here till it came time.
Thank you.
Right, so
We did. That is the conversation we had.
important to keep that in.
It is. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And another one, anything else?
That's-
Thank you, Tom. Yeah,
Sure they were involved in establishing a historic destination. They could assist you and the committee in making sure those things are.
so do you guys have each other's numbers? You, Alice and Diane,
Okay.
please? And Louis has a comment. Thanks.
I submitted this comment, I don't know if it came to you guys yet, I submitted it through the email.
When was that?
Communications team. Early this week, I think.
Oh,
I haven't seen it
It
then.
was a comment that it's one of the.
Didn't.
I think it's page 2, where you have the acknowledgements.
Oh, I did see that. Sorry, we did get that. Add the economic development team. Sorry, Molly got that.
The authors of the economic development plan.
Yep.
Their name should be there.
true.
Yep.
Okay, good
Yep.
build. Thank
She's
you.
already working on it, Molly.
Do we have any other comments? Doug, did you have any more points? So you were concerned about the land use map. Was there anything else?
I just, a summary statement, I see the argument about annexation protection on the edges. And that you get sued by developers if you. Sufficiently undense zoning again. I see those arguments, it just seems like to me, I mean, the whole southern half of the township is already, I think, the overlay. And I think there's a move to do zoning at 3 structures an acre. The whole half of the southern half of the township. Where structures are townhomes, I mean, I don't,
In the zoning overlays?
yeah.
Yeah, so
I think there's discussion about taking that and trying to catch up on zoning minutes. So I mean, it's just a general statement. I think me and people like me would like to see that blue thinner and more targeted to, yes, we need some commercial and yes, we need protection against annexation, but why coach people and set expectations?
So you're talking about the Fancher Road Blue
No, the upper right, the county line.
on the east side?
On the east, yep.
When you were talking, were you talking about the southern part of the township? I'm sorry, I got confused.
Well, those are my three concerns when I look at this. Is the size of the village center, does it have to be that big, and does it have to have provision for, high density housing? The county line commercial, does it have to be that wide? Couldn't it be thinner to protect against annexation? And then the whole southern half of the township, which isn't really about this document, it's about actually our current
Yeah.
overlay and zoning, is like,
So do you know Mike? Do you know Mike?
I think she's referring to me.
I am. Do you know him?
Well, the,
He's the chairperson of our zoning commission, so you guys need to exchange numbers, okay?
what you're
that's none of my feedback.
Okay.
The only thing I'd say is a lot of people that I interact with feels.
well, Marlene's already pointed out is that area, that blue area that you are expressing concerns about. And she pointed out, Stephen pointed out, the overlay already exists there. That was one of the areas that was identified, so it's already an option. But obviously, it's gonna be a while before people step up to utilize, but it is already there.
Yeah, and I'm still catching, I apologize.
So-
Catching
No,
up
that's
on
okay. I
Actually,
just
state
wanted
of
you
the
to know
overlays
that-
too.
The densities.
Proposed land use, yes, but there's already a zoning map that is adopted that shows most of that area as being included in the overlay district that would allow for some commercial and light industrial development.
So you guys need to get to know one another. I would suggest that because, and then the other thing I would say is that in Mike, the zoning, those overlays can't be pulled down until there's sewer, right?
Right, property owner that pulls it.
The
down.
property owner pulls it down and it has to apply to 25 acres. So when we start to think about that, there's a lot of things that need to happen in order to make that happen. And there's lots of opportunity to have feedback and comment and all that kind of stuff as individual properties would start to come. And that's really, I feel like, where your concerns need to be best addressed. Does that make sense? Does anybody else have any comments? And thank you, Mike. Anybody else have any comments?
I'd
Diane?
like to say, I think you guys have done a wonderful job. I read through the whole thing and it really makes sense to me. I'm a little concerned when you had the timeline, 1 to 3 years and then middle. Who in the world's gonna do all that work?
That's why you guys need to exchange phone numbers. I'm just saying.
Steve's doing it.
No,
And volunteers can't do it. Are we going to hire someone?
There's a recommendation in there to hire a township administrator.
No, I don't think one person could even
Right,
do it.
over time, you will have to grow, but it'll have to grow as the,
right.
population grows.
As it grows.
Steve?
I guess my one thought is there's an awful lot of this document sort of aimed at the center village or village center activity. As Doug has said, it's kind of morphed from what originally I thought was envisioned as a much smaller piece to a pretty big piece. I never really viewed schools as part of that, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess that could be a plus. I don't think there's a pressing demand in this township for a center village. And I'm not quite sure practically how we would pull that off, much less, fund that to come together. And I really hope we're not gonna go down a rabbit hole after this document, putting a lot of cycles into, let's get a planning committee together on Center Village when we have a lot of other stuff on our plate that really needs to be attended to. So, I mean, I see it in there. If that's a 10 to 20 year vision down the road, so at least we have made some provisions for what might be possible. But I don't, plus you don't have sewer, so, I'm hoping that doesn't become a wild hare that someone goes chasing after. In the short term, or putting a lot of resource in, because we got bigger fish to fry, is my opinion. And I think a number of people would probably agree with that.
I'm gonna have you have lunch with my son. He would love a Center Village. He's almost 40 and there's some young people who, well, he's not that young anymore. There's some people who would love to see some,
I think there's a romantic attraction to it. A lot of that came out in our original strategic planning committee. There wasn't a lot of fact-based thinking that kind of went into that.
Agreed. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna call it a day, actually, and I think I would ask for a motion from somebody on the committee.
So moved.
Would you like to frame your motion?
That's what I'm gonna do.
You want me to frame it for you, Dutch?
Committee accept our final draft and move and present it to the trustees.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Thanks, Chris and Tom. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Raised.
Okay. Chris? Then we will be moving this draft for, thanks, Chris. Draft 4 will be recommending adoption by the trustees at the next meeting with any typo changes or formatting changes that we spoke about. Yes.
Change the word adoption to acceptance.
Sure. Yes, I agree, because it's not a legal document. Thank you.
There's
Yes.
nothing to be adopted.
Point taken. Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate this committee. This was a lot of work for all of you. It wasn't something that any of you took lightly. And I appreciate all the feedback that you have given throughout this whole process, and especially you, Maureen, for your leadership. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It was a very wonderful group to work with.
Yeah. If I could say a word for just a moment, someone said, why did you want to be on that steering committee? Did you want to just influence what happened? And I said, no. What I wanted when I joined the committee, I might get a little emotional. What we saw when our township was at each other's throats, I never want to see that again. So I wanted to be participating on a group that listened respectfully to one another. And hopefully I modeled that to you and allowed for conversation. We can disagree violently. We can agree and agree violently, but respecting one another and listening is just so important. And I love my township. I've been here 30 years and I want to work with you all and be neighbors with you all and be respectful with one another. And I do appreciate all feedback that was received. It was, I think we got a better outcome. We don't love it, necessarily every part of it. We don't love the change that might be coming, but at least we're trying to do something about it. So thank you guys for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Joining this
Motion
thing.
to close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
adjourn.
Jerry Paul.
Yeah.
He called me up and said, you need to